Today's topic of discussion is radio wave. So what is meant by a radio wave? Radio waves are electromagnetic radiations having the frequency in the range 10 kHz to 300 GHz. Radio waves are launched from a transmitting antenna and they travel in free space and are received at the receiver with the help of a receiving antenna. These radio waves are not much affected by rain, snow or surrounding atmosphere. Radio waves pass through non-metallic substances but they get attenuated by metals, means their strength is reduced due to the interaction with the metals. Now, depending on the mechanism by which radio waves travel from a transmitting antenna to a receiving antenna, radio waves are classified into three types. The first one is a ground wave or surface wave. The second one is a space wave or tropospheric wave. And the third one is a sky wave or ionospheric wave. Now let us study one by one in little detail. So what is meant by a ground wave? As I've already told you, ground wave is also known as a surface wave. So the radio waves which are guided by the surface of the earth and they propagate or travel along the curved surface of the earth from the transmitter to the receiver are called ground waves. Since they travel through the surface of the earth, they are also known as surface waves. And these waves are affected by the electrical properties of the ground. And this type of propagation is useful for low frequency signals, but not useful for high frequency signals as they get absorbed by ground. And this mode of propagation can be used for radio waves whose frequency is less than 500 kHz, and it can be used for communication within a distance of 1500 km from the transmitter. AM radio stations broadcasting in the medium frequency range take place by ground wave mechanism, and this type of ground wave mechanism is reliable. Next, come to the second type, the space wave propagation. Space wave or tropospheric wave is a radio wave that moves through the Earth's troposphere. So what is Earth's troposphere? It is a layer above the Earth about a distance of 15 km over Earth's surface. So space wave has two components. The two components are line of sight or direct wave. The second component of the space wave is a ground reflected wave. So line of sight wave always travels directly from the transmitting antenna to the receiving antenna, whereas the ground reflected wave reaches the receiving antenna after getting reflected from the earth. The ground reflected wave actually suffers a phase shift of 180 degree upon reflection from the earth's surface. Hence, when both the direct and the ground reflected wave they arrive at the receiver, they may differ by a wavelength, and sometimes they may be in opposite phase, and there are chances of getting cancelled with each other. If the path lengths differ by half a wavelength, the two waves are in phase and they strengthen or reinforce each other. By changing the height of both the transmitting antenna and the receiving antenna, the path lengths of two waves can be varied. By varying the path lengths of the two waves, alternate enhancement and reduction of signal strength is possible, and this phenomenon is known as selective fading. Next, the FM and TV programs in VHF range, that is 30 to 300 megahertz, they propagate using both direct wave and the ground reflected wave. whereas TV programs using UHF, that is in the range 300 MHz to 3 GHz, propagate using direct wave. One disadvantage of the surface wave propagation is that around the globe this type of transmission is not possible. Here I would like to mention one more concept, that is shadow zone. So Earth's surface refracts and scatters the radio waves, and radio waves may get diffracted by the Earth's surface due to the roughness of the Earth's surface. Because of this, radio waves are received beyond the line of sight over a little distance. This extra distance is called the shadow zone. Now let us see the third type, that is the sky wave. So sky waves are the radio waves that reach the receiving antenna after getting reflected from the upper ionized region of the Earth's atmosphere. The ionized region of the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere is called the ionosphere. So the radio waves transmitted from the transmitting antenna, they travel towards the ionosphere, and the ionosphere reflects these radio waves back to the Earth, which are received by the receiving antenna in skywave propagation. The short wave transmission around the globe takes place through sky waves via successive reflections at the ionosphere and the Earth's surface. Now let us see in detail about ionosphere. So what is the ionosphere? Ionosphere is the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere extending from 50 km to 350 km above the Earth's surface, where the ionization is appreciable. So it can also be defined as the ionized region of the Earth's atmosphere extending from 50 km to 350 km above the Earth's surface, where the ionization is appreciable. Why this ionosphere, or how the ionosphere is formed? The upper part of the atmosphere absorbs large amount of radiated energy from the sun and gets heated, which causes ionization, leading to the formation of free electrons, positive ions and negative ions. The direct interaction of atmosphere contents like oxygen, nitrogen, etc. they interact with X-ray or UV radiation, causing the formation of electrons and positive ions. Because of the differences in chemical composition, heights and unequal ability of different gases in absorbing radiations of different frequencies, ionization is not uniform throughout the ionosphere. Instead, it is in the form of layers. So how do you define an ionospheric layer? A layer is also called stratum, is a region of the ionosphere at which the electron density reaches maximum value at a particular height and drops off on either side. So there are 4 layers, ionospheric layers during daytime. They are D layer, E layer, F1 layer and F2 layer. So 4 layers, D layer, E layer, F1 layer and F2 layer. So D layer is the lowest layer, which is at a height of 50 to 90 km, and this D layer disappears during night time. E layer is at a height of 110 km. It is also known as Kennelly Heaviside layer. Then F1 layer is at a height of 220 km and F2 layer is at a height of 250 to 350 km and it's known as Appleton layer. At night, F1 and F2 layers join together to produce a single layer known as F layer. So during night time there are only two layers existing, and they are the E layer and the F layer. The different ionospheric layers can be shown with the help of a simple diagram. So Earth's surface, above a height of 50 to 90 km, you have to show D layer. Above a height of 110 km, show E layer. Just two parallel lines you can show, curved lines. And then at a height of 220 km is the F1 layer, and at a height of 250 to 350, sometimes it may extend up to 400 km also, there exists a F2 layer. So ionospheric layers also can be shown with the height as versus electron concentration. So in such a case, at a height corresponding to these layers, you have to show the peak-like structures. Then the peak electron concentration and peak heights for E, F1 and F2 change diurnally, seasonally, and due to sunspot cycle. So what is meant by diurnal variation? From time to time of a day, there may be change in the electron concentration and the height of the layer, and there may be changes in due to seasonal variation, that is from month to month over a year, and due to the activities that are taking place in the sun, there may be changes in the peak electron concentration. So these variations are regular and predictable, and the layers are termed as regular layers. The E, F1 and F2 layers are mainly responsible for skywave propagation. Actually, D layer attenuates or reduces the strength of the radio waves. As D layer is absent during night time, the strength of the radio waves reflected from the ionosphere is greater at night than daytime. I mean to say, skywave reception is better at night, because D layer is absent during night. If D layer is present, it will reduce the strength of the radio waves. Since D layer is absent, most of the radio waves transmitted from the transmitting antenna, they are reflected by the ionosphere. Now there are some definitions you need to know: the critical frequency, the skip distance, and the maximum usable frequency. So first let me discuss about critical frequency. Now, a radio wave reflected from the ionosphere is known as a skywave. So reflection of a skywave by the ionosphere depends on its frequency, composition of the ionosphere, and angle of incidence with the ionosphere. The radio waves reflected from D layer, E layer, F1 layer and F2 layer are different. I mean to say, D layer reflects a particular frequency, E layer reflects particular frequencies, and F1, F2 layers, they also reflect some other particular frequencies. So the reflection from the ionosphere depends on the frequency of the radio wave. So what do you mean by a critical frequency then? So critical frequency is the highest frequency that is reflected back from a given ionospheric layer for vertical incidence. So let me repeat again. It is the highest frequency that is reflected back from a given ionospheric layer for a vertical incidence. Now you need to learn about skip distance and maximum usable frequency, which are actually interconnected. Now consider a fixed frequency skywave whose frequency is greater than the critical frequency and is being radiated by a transmitting antenna over a wide range of angle of incidence. So we are going to vary the angle of incidence at the ionosphere. What happens? So when the angle of incidence is large, skywave returns to ground at a long distance from the transmitter. As the angle of incidence is reduced or decreases, sky waves return to ground at a distance closer to the transmitter. If the angle of incidence is reduced further, then radio waves escape and they will never return to ground. The phenomenon can be shown with the help of a diagram. So you can see here there is a transmitting antenna, and the radio wave of the fixed frequency is made to fall on the ionosphere at a different angle of incidence. If the angle of incidence is large, then the skywave returns to Earth at longer distance. As the angle of incidence is reduced, then the point at which the skywave is received, that distance from the transmitting antenna reduces, and as angle of incidence is reduced further, then the skywave is reflected from the ionosphere and it reaches the ground at a distance still lesser than the earlier distances. And if the angle of incidence is still reduced, here it's almost zero, you can say, and then these sky waves, they never get reflected from the ionosphere and they escape, and this distance, that is from the transmitter to the receiver, this minimum distance, this corresponding to a particular frequency, is called the skip distance. So how do you define a skip distance? So minimum distance between the transmitter and the receiver at which a skywave of a particular frequency is first received is called the skip distance. So skip distance, it increases with frequency, and for a given frequency, skip distance depends on the height of reflecting layer. Also, it increases with the increasing height of the reflecting layer. The frequency which is received first corresponding to the skip distance is called the maximum usable frequency. So let me repeat, the frequency which makes the given distance correspond to the skip distance is called the maximum usable frequency, and maximum usable frequency is abbreviated as MUF, maximum usable frequency. Now, if the frequency of the transmitted wave is higher than MUF, the sky wave will not reach the receiver. Then maximum usable frequency also depends on the diurnal variations.